President Vladimir Putin, during his State of the Nation address to the Russian Federation Assembly in March, showcased several weapons. One of them was Poseidon, Status 6, unmanned underwater drone. It will be carried by a new nuclear-powered submarine currently under construction. Poseidon is one of a kind and poses a real challenge to Russia's rivals. In this video, Defense Updates analyzes why Russia's Poseidon unmanned underwater drone is a doomsday weapon. Let's get started. The torpedo-shaped robotic mini-submarine can travel at speeds of up to 100 knots. That's 185 kilometers per hour. It has a range of 6,200 miles, 10,000 kilometers, and can travel at a maximum depth of 3,280 feet, or 1,000 meters. This underwater drone is perceived to have stealth technology to avoid detection. As per Russian sources, Poseidon is armed with a mammoth 100 megaton warhead. To give viewers a perspective, here's a comparison. Trinity Test in New Mexico in July 1945, which ushered in the nuclear age, had a yield of 20 kilotons. Hiroshima's Little Boy bomb had a yield of 13 to 18 kilotons, whereas Nagasaki's Fat Man bomb had a yield of 20 to 22 kilotons of TNT. Poseidon has the potential for multiple strategic uses. These could be some of its mission. 1. Making nuclear tsunamis to flood and radioactively contaminate rival coasts. This weapon could create a tsunami wave up to 500 meters tall that will radioactively contaminate large parts of enemy's coastline. Poseidon could be armed with a cobalt bomb. A cobalt bomb is a type of salted bomb, a nuclear weapon designed to produce enhanced amounts of radioactive fallout, intended to contaminate a large area with radioactive material. Upon detonation, cobalt-59 would be transmuted into cobalt-60, a highly radioactive particle with a half-life of more than 5 years. It will cause massive devastation, rendering large areas unusable for years. No country in the world has yet tested a cobalt bomb due to the devastating radiation it would unleash. 2. Destroying naval bases. Being much smaller than a traditional submarine, the Poseidon could sneak very close to enemies' naval bases and detonate itself, causing tremendous damage to enemies' naval assets like warships or submarine fleet. 3. Destroying U.S. aircraft carriers. Russia's main rival, U.S., has about 10 supercarriers in active service. These have been used to project power much beyond the American homeland. Poseidon could be assigned to neutralize U.S. carriers. Russia could quietly pre-position a few of these on the floor of the oceans, then remotely activate when in strike distance of a U.S. carrier group. 4. Destroy U.S. SSBN fleet. U.S. currently has an Ohio SSBN fleet of 14 vessels. This is scheduled to decline to 12 Columbia SSBNs in the future. On any given day, half of U.S. SSBN are in port and other half are patrolling at sea. So the most credibly survivable leg of the entire U.S. nuclear triad is only about 6 to 7 submarines. Poseidon could be used to tail these submarines and attack them on command. Even a robot submarine of Ohio class may not survive a 100 megaton warhead, even when detonated 100 kilometers away. The U.S. and NATO members are developing multiple anti-missile defense systems. The U.S. missile defense systems like Ground-Based Mid-Course Defense, Aegis Ballistic Missile Defense System, or Terminal High Altitude Area Defense (THAAD) are designed to take out traditional missiles. Though Russia is developing offensive systems capable of penetrating the U.S. air defense shield, Poseidon would be an alternative mechanism. Poseidon would be able to bypass these missile defense systems altogether as it will travel underwater.
This is the book of Isaiah, chapter 13, verse 17. Behold, I will stir up the Medes against them, which shall not regard silver, and as for gold, they shall not delight in it. Barak Yahweh, Barak Yahushai, Barak Yahweh, Barak Yahushai. Yahweh is the name who the world ignorantly calls God, and Yahushai is his son who the world ignorantly calls Jesus Christ. First and foremost, I want to give all praise and glory to Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahushai, Bahashim, Rakah, Kodash. Double honors to the apostles of great millstone who rule well and taught me this truth. And salutation to the Akim out there pushing this truth and sincerity throughout the four corners of the earth and risking their life to do so for Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahushai's sake. Our brother Samak from the GMS Miami camp. And yet, the reason why I brought out the book of Isaiah, chapter 13, verse 17, all right, is because the Russians, they're now threatening, all right, using their propaganda media, they're now threatening nuclear war against the United States. And I found this article today, all right, where it clearly shows that, hey, man, the Russians are being stirred up, and it's all through the spirit and power of Yahweh Bashim Yahushai, because he has to stir up the spirit of these Medes so they will attack America and destroy this place, destroy Babylon. So let me get into this article, and Lord willing, it's edifying. It says, this is from Business Insider, came out today. It says, Russian media threatens U.S. with 100 megaton nuclear doomsday device after key arms treaty fails. Right, if you haven't been paying attention to the news lately, all right, the United States pulled out of the INF treaty, okay? And so that sent a signal to Russia, oh, okay, so you're not adhering to the treaty anymore. So guess what? All right, our nukes will be on standby, and if you try anything, okay, we will send something to you. Which hence this article right here, because really this is just Russia, okay, retaliating for what America has done, pulling out of that treaty. It goes on and says, the Russian military and state sponsor committee has reacted with the fire and fury of their own to the news that the U.S. will exit the Intermediate Range Nuclear Forces Treaty, one of the last barriers preventing a full-on Cold War-like arms race in Europe. And there's already talk of nuclear doomsday device visiting the U.S. The INF Treaty banned land-based nuclear-capable missiles with a range between 300 and 3,200 miles in 1987 when Russia and the U.S. had populated much of Europe with intermediate-range nuclear missiles. The ban eliminated this entire class of missiles and went down as one of the most successful acts of arms control ever. The U.S. and NATO concluded recently that Russia has spent years developing a banned nuclear-capable weapon, thereby making the treaty meaningless. The U.S. responded by saying it would withdraw and design its own treaty-busting missiles. Russia said it would do the same, though many suspect they have already built the missiles. Exactly, because they've been building nuclear missiles. They've been building nuclear missiles since the 1950s, all right? Mainly, they've been testing them underground. That's why you get a lot of earthquakes, okay? Continuing on. But Russia's response to U.S. didn't stop there. A BBC review of Russian newspaper, some state-owned and all adhering to state narratives or censored by the Kremlin, revealed some truly apocalyptic ideas. Quote, if the Americans deploy their new missiles near Russia's borders, in response we deploy ours, then of course the risk of nuclear conflict rises sharply, an arms control expert told one paper. Quote, if the U.S. missiles are deployed in Poland or the Baltic states, they'll be able to reach Russia in minutes. In such an event, the way Russia currently conceives using nuclear weapons as a retaliatory strike becomes impossible, since there won't be time to work out which missiles have been launched against Russia, what their trajectory and their targets are, he continued. This is why there is now a temptation for both us and for them to adopt the doctrine of a preemptive strike. Right, man? Hey, once again, Isaiah chapter 13, verse 17, behold, I will stir up the Medes against them, which shall not regard silver, and as for gold, they shall not delight in it. Verse 18, their bulls also shall dash their young men to pieces, and they shall have no pity on the fruit of the womb. Their eyes shall not spare children. Verse 19, and Babylon, the Gora kingdoms, the beauty of Chaldees, excellency, shall be as when the Most High Yahweh overthrew Sodom and Gomorrah. And that's the times that we're coming into, all right? Because now these nations are on edge. All right, this is of Yahweh Bashim Yahushai to, okay, bring judgment upon the earth, mainly to you Americans, because the Russians are going to be the ones spearheading your downfall. Your downfall, your destruction. The experts say that INF Treaty demise means both the U.S. and Russia now have to consider nuking the other at the first sign of conflict because missile attacks won't be as predictable as long-range salvos from the continental U.S. and Russia's mainland. You see that? They're on edge. So a preemptive strike is imminent. All we got is a couple of prophecies. Jacob's trouble, and what coincides with Jacob's trouble? The mark of the beast, RFID chip. All right? Goes on and says, Russia recently said it built one of the most insane nuclear weapons of all time in the form of an undersea torpedo with a 100-megaton nuclear warhead that's designed to be unstoppable against all missile defenses and create tsunami-sized waves and radioactive hellstorm that stomps out life on Earth for thousands of square miles for decades. And that was that video you just saw that I put in post-production, man. The Russians got some technology for you Americans, all right? It ain't looking good for you Americans living here, okay, in Babylon, okay? You Edomite Americans, all right? You red Hebrew Edomites. Since they announced the weapon, they've already used it to threaten Europe. But now with the INF treaty in tatters, a military expert told a Russian paper that the Doomsday device could see use. It cannot be excluded that one of the Poseidon with a 100-megaton nuclear warhead will lay low off the U.S. coast, becoming the Doomsday weapon. Thus, an attack on Russia will become a suicidal misadvantage, the paper said. The paper also declined to mention that U.S. and Russia's nuclear posture already guarantees any mutual nuclear exchanges will lead to total destruction of either country. Russia's Poseidon Doomsday device doesn't change the mutually assured destruction of dynamic between Washington and Moscow. It provides only a way to destroy more natural life in the process. Russia's media may swerve into a bombast, but Russia's actual military has already announced plans to build more weapons and extend the range of weapons to counter the U.S. in what experts peg as the next great nuclear standoff. Let's get into the scriptures, because this is Yapa, man. The prophecies are moving quickly. All right? This is the book of Jeremiah, chapter 50, verse 1. The word of the Lord spake against Babylon, against the land of the Chaldeans by Jeremiah the prophet. Okay? By Jeremiah the prophet, verse 2. Declare ye among the nations and publish, and set up a standard, publish and conceal not. Say, Babylon is taken, Bel is confounded, Murdoch is broken in pieces, her idols are confounded, her images are broken in pieces. And that's what's going to happen when the Russians and the rest of these nations launch missiles at you, whether it be from land, air, or sea. Because this place is going to get attacked on all fronts. All right? On all fronts. Verse 3, for out of the north there cometh a nation against her, right? Talking about Russia, which shall make her land desolate, and none shall dwell therein. They shall remove, they shall depart, both man and beast. Right, them nuclear missiles, all right? It's going to create all types of catastrophe here in America. And that's the times that we're living in, because it's judgment. It's judgment, all right? Book of Jeremiah, chapter 51, verse 7. Babylon had been a golden cup in the Lord's hand, that made all the earth drunken. The nations have drunken of her wine, therefore the nations are mad. Right. There was at one point Babylon, all right, was considered a place of milk and honey, and all the nations subscribed to it. All the nations had done their economic dealings, okay, with here. All right, and they were rejoicing. But now, okay, this scripture is twofold, because now they're irritated because they subscribed to Babylon, and they realized that it didn't benefit them, because they're through America's sanctions and America's economic issues, they're feeling the pain. All right. So now the nations are like, well, we got to get away from America. We got to get away from that American dollar. We got to get away from anything that has to do with America. All right. And that's why America is going down. It's going down. It's going down. There's nothing you can do to stop it. Verse 8. Babylon is suddenly fallen, destroyed. How for her? Take balm for her pain. If so be she may be healed. Right. This place is done. Okay. She can't be healed. All right. This place is over. Verse 9. We would have healed Babylon, but she is not healed. Forsake her, and let us go every one into his own country. For judgment reacheth unto heaven, and is lifted up even to the skies. Right. And this place is going to get judged, man, because its sins have reached onto the heaven. Because what this scripture is talking about is the book of Revelation, chapter 18, and I'm going to start at 2. Okay? Book of Revelation, chapter 18, Verse 2. And he cried mightily with a strong voice, saying, Babylon the great is fallen, and has become the habitation of devils, and the hold of every foul spirit, and a cage of every unclean and hateful bird. Right? And this is John seeing America being destroyed. All right? This is after America got destroyed. Okay? That's what he saw. That's why he said Babylon the great is fallen, is fallen. All right? Verse 3. For all nations have drunken the wine of her wrath, of her fornication. The kings of the earth have committed fornication with her, and the merchants of the earth are waxed rich through the abundance of her delicacy, right? Those once again, America's great casino, okay, on Wall Street, making all this money here, and all the nations got rich over her, all right? But now they're going to destroy her, starting with the Russians, spearheading it. Verse 4. And I heard another voice from heaven saying, Come out of her, my people, that ye be not partakers of her sins, and that ye receive not of her plague. Right, that's talking about you Israelites, you so-called Negro, Latinos, and Native Americans, all right? Come out of Babylon, meaning get your mind out of this place. This place is finished. The Russians are about to attack this place, all right, as well as the other nations. Verse 5, For her sins have reached unto heaven, for her sins have reached unto heaven, and the Most High remembered her iniquities. You see that? And the Most High remembered her iniquities. And that's what's going down, all right? She's about to get judged by fire. And guess what? It's not far-fetched. The Russians are getting ready, all right, to attack America. So what has to happen before this? Prophecies, man. Okay? Jacob's trouble and the mark of the beast RFID chip, which we're going to keep pushing out. That they have to push out the chip first before the nuclear destruction. But hey, what time are we living in, man? We're living in the last days. We're living at the end. All right? What does it say? Perilous times. Second Timothy chapter 3 verse 1. This know also that in the last days perilous times shall come. Right, perilous times shall come, and we're living in the last days where this peril is coming, man. All right, nuclear war is coming. When you look up the word perilous, it's hard to do, to take, to approach, hard to bear, troublesome, dangerous, harsh, fierce, savage. And the Russians are bringing the savage life to America. Nuclear war is coming. There's nothing you can do to stop it. All right? Donald Trump pulled out the INF treaty. Okay, that sent a signal, a tone to the rest of the world. Get ready for nuclear arms race. With that, I want to give all praise and glory to Yahweh Ba'Shem, Yahweh Shai Ba'Shem, Rakakadash. Double honors to the apostles, great millstone, who well and taught me this truth. And salutation to the Akim out there pushing this truth and sincerity throughout the four corners of the earth and risking their life to do so for Yahweh Ba'Shem, Yahweh Shai's sake. Love you, brothers. Keep the door, keep the faith. And with that, shalom.